Hard times create strong people. Strong people create good times. Good times create weak people. And guess what weak people do? They create hard times. And we are in the cycle of becoming stronger as humanity. You could argue that for a big part of the world, not all the world, but a big part of the world leading up to 2020, it was good times, especially in the Western side of the world, especially in North America. Would you agree? And I believe a lot of people got weak. A lot of people got a little complacent. A lot of people got a little bit relaxed. We start to worry about things that we shouldn't worry about. And guess what that created? It created hard times. Yeah. Now we're in the hard times period. And I believe we're coming to the end of the hard times. And there's a lot of strong people that are going to come out of this. You are some of those strong people. Now you might be wondering, well, am I? You are. Do you think the regular person during a time like this comes to a session to learn and grow and become better? You know what most people want to do right now? Nothing. Most people right now want to sit at home and feel bad about themselves, feel bad about the world, feel bad about everything that's happening. Or on the other side of the equation, they want to just go have fun and enjoy the sun and be on the beach. But the fact that during times like this, you come and show up every day, you're sacrificing time away from your family, you're making an effort to become better. Maybe you didn't feel like being here today, but you made an effort to be here because you knew you needed it. So here's what I wanted to talk about today. What the hell does personal development mean? That's what I want to talk about today. Because we hear personal development, personal growth, and what the heck is that even? What is personal growth? What is personal development? Is it reading books? I don't think so. Is it meditation? I don't think so. What is it exactly? That's what I want to talk about today. Because I think it's something that we talk about a lot. It's something that you hear a lot from Tony Robbins and Ed Mylett and these great individuals. But here's a quote that I saw when I first started my journey, and I didn't get it in the beginning. And here's what the quote is. Success is not something you pursue. What you pursue will elude you. It can be like trying to chase butterflies. Success is something you attract by the person you become. Now, maybe some of you look at this and you get it. When I first saw it, I had no idea what the heck he meant. What do you mean? I just sit there and I become a person and things come? No, that's not what it means. But I didn't understand it. Let me tell you what it means. The vibrational frequency you live your life at determines what kind of life experience you have. That's what it actually means. You see, when I was coming into the business, I really wanted to win. I needed to win. I wanted it more than anything. And that frequency of desperation was actually keeping success away from me, not bringing it to me. Because guess what I was feeling all the time? Fear. What if it doesn't happen? What if I can't do it? Guilt because it wasn't happening fast enough, because I wasn't winning. And do you think those feelings were attractive? Guess what happened when I would feel fear? I would get anxious, and anxiety would make me angry in some certain circumstances. That anger would turn people off. Sometimes that anxiety would lead me to avoiding things that I needed to do to win. The guilt would make me feel embarrassed and not want to move forward. I didn't understand what was happening back then because no one had ever taught me this stuff. I didn't even know what it was all about. But for some reason, no matter how much I tried to force it, no matter how much I tried to make it happen, it just wouldn't happen. I felt like the fly that keeps hitting the window, but there's not even a crack being made. I don't know if some of you feel that way or not, but I felt like that for a long time. And I left WFG after 2 years of feeling that way, and I'm like, it's probably not me, and it's probably not, not my lack of skill or my lack of mindset. It must be the business. So guess what? I went to other businesses. I went and tried different things. I feel the same way. And I remember I went to a personal development seminar, and I did not want to go, by the way. Some guy told me, he's like, hey, there's this thing called Landmark Forum. It's 72 hours seminar. So it's a 3-day seminar. We weren't going to sleep there, but it was like full day, 12-hour day for 3 days. Okay, and then you come home and then you go back. And it cost $800. Back then, $800 was everything to me. You got to understand. Like now I make $150K a month and it's whatever. Back then, $800 was like my livelihood. Like that's it. Do you think I was fired up to pay that money? No. And what? I'm going to go sit there for 3 days and learn what? I read books. What do I need to learn? I know this stuff. What do I need to? That was the cocky mindset that I had back then. But when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, you have this tendency to knock on doors again. And that's where I was at. Nothing I did was working. I wasn't fulfilled in any area of my life. Not just business, not just finance, but I wasn't happy with my relationships. I wasn't happy with any area of my life. And I was like, what do I have to lose? It's not like this $800 is going to make me rich. So let me spend it and maybe it will solve some of my problems. And I went to the event. And let me tell you this right now. I wasn't fired up at the event either. It's not like I went down like, hallelujah, I'm free. No. I walked in and I'm like, this is kind of boring. What the hell are these people talking about? I'm looking around judging everyone there. But I'm like, I paid the money. I'm going to be here. Let me at least listen. So I listened. And then I start to, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm listening anyways. Let me just do some of the stuff that they're telling me to do. And I started doing it. And I kid you not, ever since that 3 days has passed, every day my life has gotten better. And let me tell you what was the biggest thing that I did after that 3 days, or I should say during that 3 days and after it. I started to let go and forgive. I gave you guys a quote a couple weeks ago about forgiveness. And starting that day, I started to let go of some of the negativity. I started to let go of some of the things that I was harboring. And I got lighter and lighter. And my frequency became better and better and better. And that's when all the doors open up. My relationships got better. I felt more fulfilled. When I got into business, it almost felt like I went from everything I touched turns into poop. That's the nice word of saying it. To everything I touched was turning into gold. And it's been like that for the last 7, 8 years now. And it's not a coincidence. But I didn't really understand what was happening until later on. And I want to explain to you what was happening. What happened was I began to travel up the spiritual paradigm. I'm going to give you a warning sign. As I talk about this, some of you are going to disconnect. Some of you are going to be like, oh, what is he talking about? I got a whole session for you guys. By the way, literally, I have a whole section called Why People in Negative Fields Resist Positivity. So if that's you, just be patient. Maybe we can help you. Okay? I know you might not like the whole thing, but just be patient with me and maybe we'll connect with you. But here is what this spiritual paradigm talks about. This is from a book by Dr. Hawkins called Power versus Force. And he says as human beings, we are all on this map of consciousness. He goes 80% of the world lives in the survival paradigm. What is survival paradigm? It means that your emotional home is shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger. That's your emotional home. Do you know what emotional home means? It means where you go back to. And I'll explain that in a second. He goes, only 20% of people ever get to reason and integrity, and only 0.0001% of people get to a spiritual paradigm in their whole lifetime. In fact, the most shocking thing that I heard in the book was that most people only go up 5 points in their whole lifetime. Let me explain to you what 5 points means. It means if your emotional home right now is grief and you're at level 75, if you leave it to chance, you'll only ever go to level 80. That means you'll never even graduate from grief. You go, Nima, this is BS. What are you talking about? I feel pride. I feel joy. I feel love. I feel peace. What do you mean most people only go up 5 points? Let me explain to you. You might travel to joy sometimes. You go to Disney World and you travel to joy while you're on the roller coaster. Makes sense. You might travel to peace sometimes when you're on a nice beach and everything's good and you're taking it in. But you just travel there. You don't live there. We're talking about where do you live. We're not talking about where do you visit. By the way, even the enlightened person travels to guilt sometimes if they make a mistake. They travel to sadness if they lose a loved one. They're human. They still feel emotion. But they travel there. They don't live there. We're talking about where do you live. And here's the question I want you to ask yourself. How do you feel most of the time? Don't answer this out loud. Please don't answer this for yourself. But where do you live most of the time? Because when I was going through the majority of my life, I'll tell you where I lived. The majority of my life, I lived in fear, desire, and anger. Some of you think I'm still in anger. I believe I've graduated. We'll talk about that. Don't worry. I visit anger often. I like to travel there. It's like Mexico. I go there quite a bit. It's very nice, beautiful beaches, but I don't live there. But I'm telling you, for the majority of my life, I lived there. Fear, desire, and anger. Most of my childhood, I had a lot of anxiety, which came from fear. I was also very ambitious, which was the desire part, and I was also very angry, which was the anger part. As my life has become better, it hasn't been a consequence of making more money. It's been a consequence of me developing myself to live in better areas. Haven't you met a lot of people that have a lot of money and they're still depressed? Haven't you met a lot of people who have no money but they're the most joyful and peaceful people you'll meet? So then money is the equation to better your external life, but it's not an equation to better your internal life. In fact, most people, instead of a map of consciousness, they're following a map of money, where they go, once I make more money, then I'll be happy. And guess what happens? Once they make more money, they have less stress, they have less problems, but they're still not going to be happy. Because they programmed their mind to delay their happiness. They didn't program their mind to live in happiness. Let me tell you something. Some people think when you make more money, this thing becomes easier. You're wrong. You think it's easier for me to recruit? It's not, because people don't even connect with me anymore. I tell somebody I make $150K a month, they're like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? Because they can't even connect with that number. I made $55,000 yesterday, guys, just in one day. Okay? No, you don't need to clap. I'm not saying this to show up. That doesn't even make sense to me still. Like, the money goes in my bank account, I'm like, this can't be real. Sometimes I go and spend it just to see if it works. Like, I can't. So you think I go around telling people, oh, I make this much, and they're like, please take me? No. It's because they want what I have, and it's not the money. They want the confidence. They go, man, I want to be confident like this guy. They want the peace. They're attracted to where I am at internally, not where I'm at externally. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Yes. So that's what I want to teach you today. I want to teach you the deep stuff here, not the surface stuff, because if you get the deep stuff, the surface stuff is easy. But if all I teach you is the surface stuff and never the deep stuff, you may end up like me, where you just hit the window every day and you don't know how to go. So let's talk about this for a second. Because when we talk about, in most people's whole lifetime, they only travel up 5 points, it sounds depressing. But let me tell you who those people are. They're people who don't even understand you can change. You're in a unique room right now. Before I read the book Think and Grow Rich, I didn't even know you could think and grow rich. What do you mean think and grow rich? The title just sounds like a scam. What is this kumbaya thing? I watched The Secret and I'm like, who's on drugs here? The Secret? What? I just imagine it and it just magically shows up? What the hell? I didn't get it. Most people don't even realize there's such a thing called developing and changing. You're in a unique room. When we say the average person only goes up 5 points, we're talking about all the 7 billion people on planet Earth. A big part of the world still can't read, guys. Don't look at your small circle and your life and think that everyone is like you. Very few people are like you. Very few people are willing to show up in a class like this in person or on Zoom. You're unique. So you don't have to feel bad about this, because you are the people that are going to travel way higher than that 5 points. But it happens intentionally. It doesn't happen just because. See, I used to think, I'll just be happy one day. That's not how it works. You have to work at it intentionally, and that's what I want to talk about today. Today, I want to talk about how we can go up these levels. Is that okay? Yeah. And I want to talk about the things that I did that helped me go up these levels. I want to talk about why it matters. Let's talk about that. Who here likes helping people? Raise your hand. I'm curious. I hope all your hands go up. If you don't have a hand, that's okay. Okay, good. We're good. We're in the right room. Every single person here wants to help people. My mission statement when I started on the journey of personal development and success was, I want to reach my full potential and in the process inspire others to do the same thing. And here's what I was talking about. As you go up these levels, you can take people with you. And again, this is coming directly from Dr. Hawkins and ChatGPT. It's a partnership. I got both of them at work. But here's what he says. He says the higher you go up the level of consciousness, the more people you can free who are unconscious. So he says, level 200 of courage is just the beginning to offset negativity. You're just starting to offset negativity at this point. He goes level 300, tens of thousands below 200 can be inspired by you. He goes, if you're level 400, 400,000 people below the level 200 can be inspired by you. He goes level 500, it's 750,000 people. Level 600 is 10 million people. Level 700 is 70 million people. By the way, some of you have already met people on these levels and you don't even know it. Your favorite teacher that made you feel like you're worth something and you can be someone, they were probably on one of these levels. Maybe your grandmother, maybe your uncle, maybe you have someone in your life that pulled you up, that every time you were around them, you felt better. Think of somebody that when you would be around them, you felt better. You felt more courageous. You felt like there was hope. Those people were probably in these levels and they never even got recognition for it. But I'll give you guys some of the people that have gotten a lot of recognition for it. Here are some famous people on these levels. Martin Luther King, level 540. Dalai Lama, level 540. Mother Teresa, level 710. Gandhi, level 700. Buddha and Jesus Christ, level 1000. By the way, at that level, you free a whole generation of people. Meaning, individuals at this level, they totally eradicated negativity during their times or with their influence after their times. So for me, that's what it means to go up these levels. It's so that we can inspire other people to do the same thing. Now, some of you are like, how is this even possible? I'm glad you asked. I asked ChatGPT the same question. Here's how it's possible. Why these levels uplift others? Energy fields are contagious. Higher level fields are stronger and entrain or synchronize lower fields upwards. There is no force required. Just presence is enough. Here's what that means. If you sit near someone who's peaceful, they will calm you down without words. How many of you, when you were kids, you felt really bad sometimes and you went to your mom and you felt better? I was one of those people for sure. Thank you, Mom. Give her a round of applause. Good job. So as human beings, we communicate more with energy than we do with anything else. A lot of the times, I will go with coffee with people, and I still do that to this day, or I talk to them, and you know what they say to me? Nima, every time I talk to you, I feel more motivated. I don't know what it is. And sometimes, I'm not even saying nice things. It's not like, oh, like you're the best. Sometimes it's the opposite of that. And they're still motivated. And here's why. It's because of the energy communication, not because of the verbal communication. That's what I mean by frequency. When you're in different levels of frequency, you can connect with different people and you can bring different people. And I'm going to talk about this in detail. I'm just covering the basics right now, but when we get into the details, guys, you're going to love this stuff. Here's the next one. Power is self-sustaining while force drains and requires constant effort. See, when you're operating with power, that means you're attracting. When you're operating by force, that means you're trying to make it happen and smash the wall. That's what I was doing originally, and then I gained the power from it. Now let's go on the other side. You say, Nima, all this stuff about the positive side is great. Wonderful. What about the negative side? Good. Let's talk about that. Because if positive side can bring us up, what can the negative side do to us? Well, let's look at it. Here are the negative levels and their downward pull. When you're at the level of shame, this is the lowest level possible. You are deeply toxic. It instills worthlessness, self-rejection, fear in others. A person vibrating here may cause others to feel uncomfortable, inferior, or dirty just by their presence. Hopefully no one knows level 20 people here, but if you do, then that's where they are. And hopefully they find a way out. Level 30 is guilt. Induces blame and self-punishment in groups. Leaders or parents at this level spread emotional heaviness and control through manipulation or silent accusation. Apathy spreads despair, hopelessness. People nearby may feel drained. What's the point? Attitudes or lack of motivation. Grief draws sympathy, but can also spread sadness and loss. Long exposure may leave others feeling heavy-hearted. Fear makes others anxious, suspicious, or hyper-vigilant. Fear easily spreads in crowds, workplace, families, causing paralysis or conformity. I don't know if some of you have been feeling a little bit like, oh my God, I'm stuck. I can't do anything. You may be exposed to a lot of fear, that's why. I'm getting some messages from some people and they're like, Nima, I don't know what's going on. I just can't get myself to do anything. It's because they're being bombarded by fear on social media. Every time they open their phone, the world's gonna end. Desire spreads craving, greed, and dissatisfaction. Consumerism, addiction cycles, and manipulation often comes from here. Others may feel not enough around this energy. Anger, infectious, causes irritation, conflict, aggression in others. A single angry person can trigger argument, violence, or fear responses. Have you ever noticed where some angry person shows up somewhere and then 5 other people get angry? Yeah. Anger is contagious like yawning is contagious. You know when you yawn and then someone else yawns? You get around an angry person, it's like a virus in the room. Everyone all of a sudden starts catching it. Pride. Arrogance can generate defensiveness, envy, and competition. Although stronger than lower levels, pride divides and repels, creating us versus them mentalities. But let's continue. The danger of low-level mass consciousness. Collective fear or anger can lead to mass panic during pandemic or riots. We've experienced a few bit of those, haven't we? Apathy and grief seen in oppressed populations or depressed workplaces spreads burnout or helplessness. Pride drives nationalism, racism, or elitism when misused. May feel strong, but leads to division, not unity. Why these levels pull others down? Energy drain. Lower levels consume life energy, making people feel tired, confused, or defeated near them. Emotional contagion. Fear or anger can infect whole groups quickly. That's where you get the mob mentality and panic. And resistance to growth. Below 200, there is usually blame, denial, or victimhood, preventing personal or social evolution. The number one sign of people being level below 200 is being in a victim mindset more often. Again, they travel to responsibility. They travel to heroism. But their reset button is victimhood. Let me tell you when you find your reset button in a crisis. When you go through a crisis, that's where we find out where your emotional home really is. Because there's some people who are enlightened and very high level. Very few people are like that. You might have never met anyone like that. But when crisis happens, they're peaceful. It's fine, this too shall pass. And they truly are. It's not just words, it's a way of being. There's people you meet in crisis and they tap into courage right away. Right? Everything happens for you not to. Darkest right before dawn. You know, that's where I find my minimal always goes to. And you bring that courage. There's also people in crisis and they go immediately to shame. They go immediately to guilt. They go immediately to fear. They go immediately to anger. Your emotional home is your place of reset. And usually you find it in the mode of crisis. Here's the next thing I want to read, because these are the important ones. Negative levels have weak radiance. Here's the good news. Although it's harder to be in the realm of positivity, it's way more powerful when you are. In fact, it says below 200 force fields are weak, localized, and energy draining. One person at shame, guilt, fear, anger does not have the energetic strength to drag millions down the way a high level being can uplift millions. That's the good news. This is why negative movements or dictatorships need massive external force, such as propaganda and violence, to maintain influence. I hope you're paying attention here, because this is important stuff. Whereas power levels uplift effortlessly. Here's the estimate impact of low-level individuals. Negative fields collapse without reinforcement, meaning fear or anger can only infect groups if others are already resonating at low levels. It's really interesting for me. Some of the nicest people right now are becoming the most freaking violent. I'm serious. I'm seeing it on social media. I'm seeing some nice people get really aggressive. And they're attacking people. Why aren't you posting this stuff? Why aren't you? How dare you say this? Dude, yesterday you were so polite. What happened? Because it's people that are already resonating at lower levels and now they're triggered. And it's just human nature. There's nothing to be upset about. See, when you understand people, you don't get upset with them. When you don't understand them, you get upset with them. That's why I'm teaching this lesson today, because you gotta understand people and you gotta understand what's going on for you to be able to have empathy. It's hard to have empathy if all you're doing is blaming people and being a victim. It's easier to have empathy when you take a step back and go, hold on, maybe there's a reason for all of this. And here's the good news. One person in anger won't make 100 peaceful people angry unless those people are already vulnerable or below level courage level. One powerfully positive person counterbalances thousands to millions below 200, but the reverse isn't true. Lower levels cannot pull down the high level fields because power triumphs force. A peaceful monk at 600 plus can neutralize thousands of angry or fearful people nearby, but 1,000 angry people can't pull down the monk unless he chooses to descend consciously. I'm watching this movie, and this guy is being dragged in front of hundreds of thousands of people, dragged through dirt, spitting on him. And these are people that he wanted to help, people he wanted to free. He's being lashed and whipped. He's getting destroyed in every way possible. He's embarrassed. His best friends and family members are not even there to support him. And he gets put on a cross and they nail him to it. In the moment when they're about to leave him, he looks down on all the people and says, God, please forgive them for they don't know what they're doing. That's a level 1,000 person right there. Where all the negativity in the world still didn't bring him down. Where all the pain, all the suffering, all the torture that those people below level 200 tried to put him through, and he still stood there and asked for their forgiveness, not his own. That's what I remember when I read this part. That when you're at the higher levels, even millions of people in the negative can't drag you down unless you let them. That's why it's so important. You know, for me, a strong person isn't somebody who puts a smile on when things are going bad. A strong person is somebody who truly feels the positivity amongst all the negativity. That's strength to me. Strength to me is your ability to be positive when the only thing you should be is negative. When the whole world around you is smashing and smashing and smashing and taking you down, and you stand there and you still forgive and you still love and you still send messages of peace. That is the ultimate level of strength. So let's talk about this. Why people in the negative fields resist positivity. And I asked the question, I said, why does it feel, I asked this question from ChatGPT, and this is in my own words. Why does it feel like the people in the negative fields are repelled by messages of positivity? The first reason is energy mismatch, vibrational incompatibility. When someone is at a low level, example, fear, anger, and shame, they are literally vibrating at a lower frequency. So, messages of love, joy, or peace feel foreign, threatening, or fake. Because they don't match their inner state. Example, someone in fear hears everything will work out and immediately thinks, no, it won't. You don't understand. Try it. Right now, go tell someone everything's going to be okay. No, it won't. Okay, it won't. Holy crap. I didn't know I was going to offend you by giving you positive. But that's why, because it repels it. You're in a whole different planet. That's what you're speaking a different language. If somebody comes to me and starts speaking Spanish, all I'm going to say is gracias, amigo. That's all I know. Because I don't understand the language. That's what it's like when you're in a higher frequency and vibration to someone who's at a lower one. That's why you'll sometimes have this experience. You'll go give a sandwich to a homeless person and they'll throw it on the ground and step on it. If you haven't had this experience, we got to go on a field trip to East Hastings together. And you'll wonder, why the hell? I just gave them free food. Why are they so... Because they're speaking a different language to you. Here's the next reason. Ego resistance and identity protection. Hawkins said, the ego is addictive to survival-based emotions like fear, pride, or anger. It's addicted to it. Go try to take heroin from a homeless person. See how that turns out for you. Don't try this. Please don't try this. I get a text tonight. I tried it. They stabbed me. Don't. Please. They will probably stab you. But when you try to take a drug from an addict, how do they react? Like you just took their life from them. That's how people react when you try to take the fear and pride and anger from them, because it's an addiction. That's why you go to an angry person and you say relax, and you just turn on the volcano, my guy. Relax, really? Boom. What the hell did I do? I said relax. I didn't say kill me. But it's because they're protecting their identity. It's because the ego is resisting it. When positivity shows up, the ego feels exposed. What if I have to change? The ego doesn't want you to change. The ego wants to dominate you. The devil wants to control you. Invalidated. Does this mean my suffering is pointless? That's a very common thing with people in the victim paradigm. They're so identified with their suffering. They're so identified with their victimhood that if you come to them and say everything happens for you, not to you, oh my God, how dare you? Because all of a sudden, all that suffering that they built a whole identity around, you're now trying to take it away, saying that it was a good thing? Who are you to say that? And they will fight you like their life depends on it. Because they feel powerless. I can't control this lightness. So the ego rejects messages of higher truth to protect its current structure. So anytime you feel resistance, and I feel resistance to this day, and I'm sure some of you do as well, it's because your ego is trying to stop you from growing. Here's the third reason, perception distortion. Lower levels, especially pride, anger, and fear, distort how truth is received. Pride sees love as weakness. Haven't you met some of those people who you're like, I love you, like, that's gay, bro. What do you mean I love you? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? And you know where it's coming from. Pride. Trust me. By the way, guess what? I was one of those people when I was 12. Seriously, because I was in those survival paradigms. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? I don't need love. I'm a 12-year-old. I know exactly what's happening. Fear sees joy as dangerous or naive. Fear sees joy as dangerous or naive. Apathy sees hope as pointless. What hope? What faith? What better future? To those in these fields, true power feels unrealistic, threatening, or manipulative. Consciousness calibration gap. Hawkins noted that messages can only be fully received, this is so important, if they are close to the listener's level. Pay attention to this. Example, someone at 100 fear cannot leap to resonate with joy, but they might tolerate courage. Meaning if someone is fearful and you go, come on buddy, let's dance, they'll smack you in the head. And if you're dancing to his music, they'll freaking break it. But if you go to them and say, hey man, let's be brave. Let's face our fear. They might resonate with that message because it's only a level or two above fear. And by the way, what I'm talking about here goes a lot into the mentorship that we do. And some of you are going to understand a little bit more about how I do things and why I give certain messages. Even one of the reasons why I was worried about teaching this session is because I was afraid that it's going to disconnect with a lot of people. But I'm like, I'll take the chance and see how it goes. It's one Wednesday session. We're not going to die. But positivity that is too high gets ignored, mocked, or attacked. Positivity that is too high gets ignored, mocked, or attacked. So when you're in Kumbaya land, you're not going to get people. It's too far away from where they're at. You got to meet them a little bit closer to where they're at, which we'll talk about a lot today, and then bring them forward. Here's another reason. Fear of losing control or familiarity. People in lower levels cling to suffering because it feels known and safe, even if it's painful. Positivity requires letting go of blame, victimhood, and anger. Think of this. Think of a heroin addict, and you try to take their heroin away from them. That's what happens with these individuals. You try to go to someone that has victimhood to tell them to take responsibility, they're not going to react positively to it. There was this guy that was on, one day I got this message, like, Nima, have you seen this thing on Reddit? I'm like, what's on Reddit? And somebody had said something about me, and they're like, I went to one of this guy's classes. And he said that if you're not successful, it's your fault. How dare he say such a thing? Let me tell you why. That person's whole life, they've been blaming probably their parents for their lack of success. They've been probably angry at why they're not getting better things, whether it's relationships, money, or whatever. They've been blaming people their whole life. All of a sudden, this Persian guy, 5'8", shows up and goes, take responsibility. It's your fault. Of course he's going to be pissed off. Who the hell are you to tell me to take responsibility? You don't know what I've gone through. But that's why there's that disconnection. That's not a bad person. It's just a person that is at a lower frequency that can't connect with this message. This message is threatening to them. Because I'm about to take something away from them that they've cherished their whole life, which is victimhood and blame, which feels like the death of the ego. That's why I always say, in order to become the new version of you, you have to kill the old version. And what you're killing is the ego that is keeping you where you're at. The unknown of peace or joy is scarier for someone attached to control. Typical reactions you might notice. By the way, a lot of you have been noticing this when you go offer opportunities to people. What's the catch? You are lying. This is too good to be true. What, teaching you about mutual funds? Yes. You are fake. Stop pretending. You are naive. I know better. I've seen people like this. He said, I've been to sessions like that. He tried to tell me to be positive too, and I didn't fall for it. I will never be positive. Or indifference. Nothing matters anyway. Yeah, what's the point of getting rich? We're all going to die anyways. We laugh, but guess what? We've all been at those levels at some point in our life, even if you just traveled there. Right? But some of you, you meet people and you go, why do they call it a scam? I explain everything to them. Because they're emotional. They're not being logical. They know it's not a scam. If they thought it was a scam, they would call. I've had that conversation. Someone's like, it's a scam. I'm like, dude, here's my phone. Call 911. I'm here. I'm not leaving. Call them. Tell them to come take me away. And then they stare at me because they know, like, well, it's not like a scam, but like it's, but like it's a pyramid. I'm like, so what is it at the end? Is it a scam or is it a pyramid? I think it's a pyramid. Is it a drug? But the thing is, it's because it's not a logical equation. It's an emotional equation. They feel like there is something wrong because they're not used to somebody helping them. They're not used to somebody coming and giving them an opportunity. They're not used to somebody coming and telling them that they can do something. You're speaking to them in Spanish. They don't speak the language, guys. That's why they react so aggressively. Because like, why is this person talking to me in this foreign language? What do you mean you're going to teach me at no expense? Because their life experiences, people taking things from them, not people giving things to them. That's right. Even when people gave them things, they took it as if they were taking something. These are the type of people that you get them a gift, and they're like, he needs something from me. Because they're living in that paradigm. That's the survival paradigm, guys. What Hawkins suggested is meet people just one level above their state, not 10 levels higher. Meaning, talk courage to fear, not love. Or you'll get resistance. Uplift gently. Safety, understanding, and non-judgment first. This is why we tell you guys to do feel, felt, found. Because feel, felt, found has no judgment. See, if somebody comes to me and goes, this is a scam, and I go, you're an idiot. It's not gonna work. If I go, it's okay, I thought so too, give me a hug. It's not gonna work. They don't want a hug. But if I go, hey man, I know exactly how you feel. When I first heard of this thing too, I thought it was a scam too. Because in my head, I was like, dude, why would they give a kid like me an opportunity like this if it was so good? Why would, you probably feel the same way. Immediately, now they feel connected with you because you're not judging them anymore. Yeah. Immediately, they don't feel shame or embarrassment anymore because you are creating empathy with them. And then you go, here's what I found, and they're going to listen better. That's why feel, felt, and found is so important because it provides safety, it provides understanding, and it's a non-judgmental reaction. And that's when they get attracted to you because they go, every other person that I said this to attacked me. You're the only person that is understanding and that is actually attempting to educate me from a place of understanding and non-judgment. How to move up the levels of consciousness. So now we figured out what the levels of consciousness are. We found out why people resist them and why people don't connect with them. Now, for those of you that are interested, we'll talk about how to get up the levels. By the way, as I'm delivering this message, there is many different reactions that people are going to be giving. There is some people that are sitting there thinking, oh, this is BS, I don't agree with this, da da da. There's a portion of the room that is thinking that. There's a portion of the room that is thinking, dude, just teach me how to. What the hell is this? Just teach me how to sell, just stop talking. What do you know? There's a portion of the room that might even be angry. Who the hell is he? What do you know? You don't know what the hell. That's a portion of the room. Then there's a portion of the room that's connecting with us. Dude, this is so good. Then there's a portion of the room that goes, dude, this is exactly what I needed. I got to go teach this to my team. Every Wednesday session, all those people are listening. And I totally understand it. And I'm here to tell you, whatever you're feeling, thanks for being here anyways. And I hope one day you can resonate with this message at a higher level because that tells me that you're actually developing and growing. But until that day, keep coming back and have a good time. But keep coming back. Don't avoid the environment because when you avoid the environment, you get stuck where you're at. But if you keep coming to the environment, you can move out. So let's talk about how you move above the levels. First and foremost, you have to cultivate awareness. Notice your frequent emotional state. Take a moment right now and ask yourself, what is the frequent emotional state that I'm feeling? Is it fear? Is it anger? Is it pride? Is it willingness? One of the best things that you could do when it comes to personal development is meditation and mindfulness, journaling, which creates reflection. But let me tell you what journaling is and what it's done for me and what it's done for a lot of people. It gives you a chance to reflect. Yes. It's a private piece of paper that you write down how you feel on, that you write down where you're at. And if I brought you my journals, you can see my journey of times where I was in lower levels, at times where I went to higher levels. But journaling allows you to reflect on your state of mind. If you don't know what the problem is, how do you solve it? If you go to the doctor and the doctor just looks at you and goes, heart medication, go. No, I'm gonna say, imagine you walk into the doctor's and the doctor comes in and he looks at you, he goes, heart medication, go. How confident are you taking heart medication right then? Because you didn't even get a chance to tell the doctor what you needed. Or they come in and go, orange juice, go. You're not gonna, because you know that they don't know what your problem is. Because they didn't look at your body, they didn't ask you questions, so how the hell did they just offer you medication? And you know what's worse than not knowing what's wrong with you? Is thinking that the wrong thing is wrong with you. Meaning, you're better off not knowing what illness you have than go to the doctor and get the wrong medication for the wrong illness. Because now you have two illnesses. If you go in with the flu and they give you heart medication, now you have a flu and heart problems. That's double the problem. So the first step is awareness. You got to know where you're at to know where you got to go. Here's the second one. Accept where you are. We all want to be enlightened. We're not. If you are, respect. Thank you for being here. You're an enlightened wizard. Teach me. I'm not enlightened. Not even close. Not even close. One day I hope to be, but I definitely am not today. And I'm totally comfortable with that. And that's what allows me to continue to work and be a student of the game until I get up. In fact, I always like to believe that I'm a couple levels below what I actually am. Because that gives me more humbleness to learn and grow from. If I think, oh, I am so impressive and so awesome, then what motivation do I have to go and keep learning? What motivation do I have to go? So I assume that I don't know so I can learn more. I assume that there is a lot of things that are still missing in the puzzle so I can go find the pieces. But you have to accept it. And it's okay. We all start at lower levels. If some of you are sitting there and you go, I think I'm feeling fear often. That's okay. Most people do. But now that you know, you have a chance to do something about it. Some of you might be sitting there and thinking, you know, I feel like I'm in grief and apathy. That's okay. You got to know where you're at to know how to get where you want to go. See, if I live in Vancouver, there's a different direction that I got to follow to get to LA. If I live in Miami, there's a different direction that I got to follow to go to LA. Do you understand? Yes. Nothing is worse than being in Miami thinking like you're in Vancouver. Because then you'll keep traveling and you'll keep hitting roadblocks and you're like, how the hell did I end up at the ocean? I thought I was going to end up in LA. So accept where you're at and don't hold it against yourself and don't blame anyone. Use the letting go technique. Allow feelings to arise without suppressing or acting on them. It's very important to not suppress, but it's also very important to not act on them. Meaning if you're angry, don't go punch the wall. Feel the anger, but don't act on the anger. Feel the emotion fully, let it dissolve on its own. You know what's one of the easiest ways to get an illness? Resist your emotions. If you feel like crying, cry. There's nothing wrong with it. If you're feeling angry, feel the anger. There's nothing wrong with it. But there's something wrong with feeling like crying and not crying. Like I know people who I know they want to cry and they're like sucking in tears. Like, I'm like, dude, cry. I'm like hitting them on the back of the head, cry. It's okay, let it out. They're like, no. As if like it's acid, it's tears, you're not gonna die. But my makeup, put it on after. Your makeup will be fine. Well, I'll buy you Sephora makeup set and your makeup. Just let it go. Right? But let it go. It's okay. You're human. You're supposed to have emotions. But when you resist your emotions, it creates 10 times the problems. Trust me, your makeup isn't the problem. But the cancer that your tears sucking into your brain will be a problem. Choose higher field responses. Consciously pick a response from a higher level. Example, if you're in fear, choose courage. If you're angry, go to willingness. See, if you're in fear, say, I'll try anyway, even if I'm unsure. Many of you, as soon as you hear about the business, all you feel is fear. What if I can't do this? What if I'm not good enough? Welcome to the club. We all feel the same way. Some people just choose courage. Some people go back to fear. Sometimes there's a good reason to be angry. But instead of letting your anger use you, why don't you use it to learn? This is one of the things that I've done that's helped me change a lot. I listen to the devil so I can do the opposite of what he wants me to do. That's what I've learned. Meaning, let me tell you what I mean. When I'm in a state of anger, all I want to do is explode. I want to yell. I want to, because with anger, you want to either explode with outwardly or inwardly. Some people explode inwardly. Some people explode outward. I'm the type that goes outward. But here's the reality, guys. In that moment, the devil is saying things to me. Yell. Get mad. Protect yourself. Get defensive. Get offensive. In that moment, I listen and I go, so don't yell. Don't get defensive. Don't get offensive. Chill out. And I do the opposite. The devil says, fight. Make your point. Then I go, you know what? Don't fight. Be understanding. Even if you think you're not wrong, apologize. Take a step back. Some people are the inward type. There's inward and I'm the outward type. Let me tell you, you know what you want to do when you feel angry and you're the inward type? You run away. Meaning you get angry and you leave. You don't talk to the person. You don't communicate. You leave. Okay, there's two types of people. There's people that you get angry and you go to the person who made you angry and fight. And then there's people that fight or flight. My family were fighters. Okay, in my family, when we got angry, there was always a fight. But then there's some families that you have anger and everyone just doesn't talk to each other for a month. Right? Oh, can you pass the yogurt? All I want is the yogurt. Maybe you deserve salt. I prefer anger outward than inward because that's so annoying. Right? But that's the truth. So if you're the type of person that when you get angry, you want to run away, maybe choose the opposite ones. Maybe instead of running away, you go, you know what? I'm going to wait and I'm going to tell them that I'm angry. Try that. And you're not going to want to do it. There's going to be a lot of resistance because you're not used to it. But in that moment, you choose to voice your anger. Not in a condescending way, not in an aggressive way, but in simply saying, hey, what you did made me angry. It upset me. And here's why. And it's going to be very uncomfortable. You're not going to want to do it at all. Every cell in your body is going to say, don't. You're going to hear things, the devil's going to say things like, they won't understand. They'll get mad. It's going to start a fight. It's going to start an issue. They're not going to care anyways. They're not going to change anyways. The devil's going to manipulate you all that way. And it's done it your whole life. That's why you keep avoiding people. Choose to do the opposite of what the devil says. And by the way, for me, my devil says the other way. Go tell them. They need to know. Everyone needs to know. And don't just tell them, yell at them. Sure. Roar. So just like how the avoidant person has to go to the anger, I have to avoid the anger because it's the comfort zones that we built. Does that make sense? Yes. And it doesn't have to be right away, but just so you know, it doesn't have to be right away. We all need space. So sometimes you do need to take an hour. Sometimes you do need to, but come back to the conversation later. I have people that I talk to and we get into an argument and they go 5 years ago. I'm like, oh no. 5 years ago, you looked at me like this and it hurt me deeply. I'm like, bro, I don't even know who I was 5 years ago. I don't remember 5 minutes ago. But that's the type of person that harbored that emotion, kept it, and it's just hurting them. I didn't even know they were upset. Some of you hate me and I don't even know why. I hope you don't, but I'm sure there's people out there. I don't even know why. Like, what happened? You made a video one time and you said, I didn't even talk about you. But again, that's what happens. And who suffers the most? The person who avoids it. Here's another one. Practice daily spiritual or consciousness work. Gratitude is level 500. I remember when Ella first started with us, she would send me her gratitude list every day. And she can tell you, it totally changed her life. Because when you visit level 500 often, you feel those feelings. It helps you elevate above the levels much quicker. Right? Meditation. My sister, she does meditation all the time. And she's been telling me how much help that it's had for her. My older sister, right? Because meditation is level 600. In that moment, even if it's a moment, you focus, you breathe, you feel better. Service to others. Perform selfless acts. Something as simple as keep opening the door for someone. I heard a story the other day. And it was about what's happening currently. And it was apparently there was this place that people were getting bread in Iran. And there's obviously a limited number of bread because of everything that's going on. And apparently there was a whole lineup of like 15 people. And there was 25 pieces of bread. And the first person in line was like, I want 15 breads. The second person in line was, I want 10 breads. Then all of a sudden, the first person in line looks back and sees all the freaking 25 people waiting. And he goes, you know what? I don't need any bread. It's okay. Give it to the next person. Then the second person in line goes, you know what? I don't need bread either. Give it to the next person. And all of a sudden, even in the midst of fear and agony, people start to give. People start to give. And when one person gave, everyone else followed. By the way, the opposite would have happened. If that person took 15, the second person would have taken all the 10. It's contagious, guys. You're either going to be a leader that leads by example or a follower that follows an example. But even if you're going to follow the right example. By the way, that's the type of content that I love to share right now. Because that's the type of content that lifts people. When I watched that video, you know what it made me want to do? I wanted to help someone that day. It made me want to give to someone. Because it's contagious. So when you operate from gratitude, when you operate in meditation and you in peace, when you operate by service to others, when you forgive, you heal. Personal development is an active process, not a passive process. You know what's the passive part? Reading. That's a passive way of personal development. You're not going to grow that way. Read 100 books, it's not enough. Personal development is an active process, meaning in the times when it's the hardest, you do the opposite of what you regularly would do. That's how you develop. I was having an argument with someone 30 minutes before the session. For some reason, everything falls apart 30 minutes before the session every time, and I have to recover. But before the session, I was having an argument with someone. Every part of me wanted to blame, attack, why did you do this? And I did do that. I do a little bit of that. And then all of a sudden I said, wait a minute, I'm listening to the devil, not the angel. And I switched. And then I started to go, you know what? Well, how would they feel? Where are they in their life? I start to tap into something called empathy, which means I put myself in their position. And then I apologize. Because I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm hurt too. But who cares about me being hurt? It takes me understanding if I ever want to be understood. So let me do it first. So then I came back and I said, hey, I'm sorry for doing that. You got upset. I apologize. ... We're good. Hope everything is good. And then guess what happened when I put the phone away? I felt better. I don't know how the other person felt. I hope they felt better. But just by doing that, I felt better. Because forgiveness is a gift you give to you before anyone else. Personal development is an active process, not a passive process. Anyone can read a book. Here's my question. When you get triggered and you want to act the way you've always acted, can you make a new decision in that moment? Yes. Because every time you make a new decision in that moment, you develop a little bit more. You develop a little bit more. You develop a little bit more. And then eventually, just like how you developed a habit of being the way you are today, you'll develop a habit of being a different person than you ever thought you could be. And look, I don't think I'm a special person, but there's one thing that I truly believe about myself. I change rapidly. If you know me on a personal level, every day I change. And you know why? Because I'm intentional about it. Every day I wake up and I listen to the devil and I make a promise that I'm going to do the opposite of what he wants me to do. There's actually a lot of the times that I go and I start typing and I erase everything I typed and change the whole dynamic. That happens to me all the time. Literally, I open up my phone and I start typing and I'm all in. And I'm a lawyer. I got receipts. I got everything. And then I finish typing and then I read it back. And I go, does this sound like the best version of me or the worst version of me? And then I start editing. And then before I know it, I just delete the whole thing. And it's, even with Moji, I sent Moji a message the other day, not about him, he's good, it was something else. And I think I went back and deleted that message 8 times and did it again. First time I sent the message, full anger. Everyone was about to get destroyed. Then I put the phone down, I'm like, oh shoot, okay, hold on. And I'm like, delete, edit, edit, that's too much editing, delete everything, put my phone away, go for a walk, breathe, come back to my phone, type the message, don't even send it, pull it here, meditate. That's personal development. It's an active pursuit. And guess what? The next time, I don't need to go through that whole process. The next time, I make the right decision right away. But it's a conscious and intentional about to go, this is how I usually act. I don't want to be usual. And then you change. Many of you didn't want to come today. And you had good reasons. You chose to come anyways. You know what you just did? You just strengthened your ability to commit. Seriously. Some of you didn't want to come. I had a conversation with someone and they didn't want to come today. They said, "Hosele nadaram," which that's Farsi. In English, that means I don't know how to chat. I don't have the tolerance for it. I don't know. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it is the best one, okay? And I said, that's how depression begins. Please come. Because that's the number one message the devil sends you on your way to depression. Hosele nadaram. And then that keeps going down and down and down. Hosele nadaram for the gym, for the class, for eating well. Not today, not this week, not this month. 3 months later, you're in full depression. You're like, how did I get here? One terminology ruined your whole life. Understand the language of the devil and fight against it. And when they said that, and I said, that's exactly what the devil sounded like when he was taking me down to depression. Please, now you gotta come. Just because you heard the devil say that, now you have to come. Because it's not about the session. This might be the worst session I've ever done. It's about you fighting against the force that's trying to keep you in a negative state of mind. It's about you saying, I'm not gonna listen to you, I'm gonna listen to my heart, to the angel, to God, to whatever the hell you wanna call it. You can clap, it's okay, why not? Here's the next thing. Stay in high energy fields. Surround yourself with uplifting people, nature, music. There's this funny thing that people say to each other when they're arguing online, and they go, bro, touch grass. And it means that somebody who's been stuck in their home being negative all day on social media, but it's true, touch grass. Guys, nature is very powerful. Sometimes you just need to go for a walk on the grass, I'm telling you, and you'll feel better. Listen, music, what kind of music? Not goth, depressing music, okay? But positive, uplifting music, right? How do you feel when you're in this environment? Amazing. Because you're around people that are positive. You know, I've been talking to a lot of people, I'm like, please come in person. I don't feel like, I know you're not feeling like it, I know, but that's why I need you to come. Because if you come here, you're gonna sense the energy in the room. Even through Zoom, you can feel it. Seek truth, not agreement. Inner truth calibrates high. Social approval often calibrates low. Prioritize truth over comfort or validation. Surrender control. Lower fields stem from control and fear. Higher levels flow from trust and surrender to life. Pay attention to this, please. Lower levels stem from control and fear. You know what happens when there's chaos? We lack control and certainty. That's what happens. When chaos is happening, we all of a sudden feel like we have no control and we feel helpless. Trust in a better future and we will create one. Yes. Give up on it and we'll never have it. Here's the summary. Awareness, acceptance, letting go, conscious choice, practice, environment, truth seeking, and surrender. I want you guys to remember this. Everything you let go of raises you. Everything you hold on to drags you. Okay? Thank you.